Hi, how you doing? This is the first time I've done a video on the internet in general. I want to talk about the difference between rights and wants and what those are, because there seems to be a lot of confusion, about what the difference is there. A lot of people call things they want a right. I have a right to have this. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Let's look at the Bill of Rights, for instance. It grants you certain rights. You have the right to free speech and free exercise of your religion. You have the right to bear arms. You have the right to be secure in your person and in your belongings against unlawful search and seizure. You have the right not to be tried for the same thing twice and to refuse to testify against yourself in court. You have the right to due process before the government can deprive you of life, liberty, or your property. You have the right to a speedy and fair trial and to confront any witnesses the state may have against you and to present your own witnesses in your defense. These are all rights that we have. Every American has them. But you'll notice something about these rights is they don't promise you anything material. There's a material aspect to them, as in things you can own, things that you have, but they don't guarantee those materials. You have the right to free speech, for example, but nobody's going to go out and say what you want them to say for you. You have to do that yourself. Nobody's going to provide you with the words to say. Those you have to come up with yourself. You have the right to exercise your religion however you choose to do that in America, but nobody's going to give you your religion. You have to go out and study that yourself to figure out what you believe. You have the right to bear arms in this country, but that doesn't mean that your neighbor is going to be forced to buy you a gun and give it to you. You have to go out and buy your own weapons, but you do have the right to own it. You have the right to trials and stuff like that, but those are all procedural things and protections against the government. All of these rights, like I said, they do have a material aspect to them, but none of them guarantee you anything. We don't have a right to objects. Those are things that we have to work for. You'll notice even in there's no right to food or water, two things that we definitely need to live. You can't live without either one of those. But you have to go out and earn that. You have to get that yourself. It's not a right to have it. You can't just walk up to a grocery store, take what you want and say, this is my right to eat. You have to pay them because they too have the right to their own possessions. They own the goods that they want to sell you, and nobody has the right to take that from them. The same thing can apply when we look at medicine. The doctors that work on people, they have rights too. They have a right to their own person and their own possessions. And when we say person, that also includes your skills, your energy, your time. All of that stuff is, things that we have a right to. Nobody can force us to work. Nobody can force us to do something against our will. And if you go up to a doctor and say, hey, I'm sick, you're going to treat me for free because I have a right to medical care, that's robbing them of their right. And the same thing applies to tax laws and taxes. When you start taking more and more from people, no matter how much those people have, you're taking something from them that they have a constitutional right to. They're supposed to be secure in their own belongings, but people are saying, well, this is my right, so in order for me to get what I want, I have to take stuff from you. And that's not right. It's never been that way in America until recently, and it was never meant to be that way. That's why the Constitution doesn't guarantee us material things. That's why food and water and medical care and stuff like that were never mentioned in the Constitution, because we don't have a right to the material. The rights we have in this country grant us the freedom to live our own lives, but with that freedom comes responsibilities and duties as well. I have to wake up in the morning every day and go to work. I have a duty to work to get the things that I want in life. And everybody else has that same responsibility and duty. Some people can't. Some people are disabled. That's completely different. Everybody understands that. And it's not even to say that collecting taxes for things are wrong. That's certainly not the case. Everybody gets down from time to time in their life, and everybody needs help. And I don't know anybody that would say it's horrible to help people. Matter of fact, we should help people. But where do you draw the line on that? You have people now saying, I need free college, it's my right to an education. There's no right to that. That's not in the Constitution. You can look it up. It's 21 pages long, real easy to read. It's not in there. You have the right to procure an education. You have the right to invest in yourself and buy an education. But at the same time, the people teaching you have the right to say, well, we need money from you so that we can afford our facilities and to pay our staff and all of that stuff, because that's their possessions and their right to their person. So when we start forcing people to pay for stuff, that's interfering with their rights. I mean, that's almost turning them into a slave when you think about it. Slaves didn't have a choice. They had to work. They did not have a choice about it. They were provided with food and shelter, no matter how meager or great those, that food and shelter was. But at the end of the day, they were forced to work. And if we're forcing people to do things for us and forcing people to give things to us and to provide services to us, and we're forcing people to give us their money, what freedom is there in that? And if we can do that to other people, you can be assured it's going to happen to us. There's no getting around it. At one point or another in your career, you're going to reach a point where you make good money. Hopefully, I hope everybody reaches that point. But do you want at that point for somebody else to turn around and say, well, now I'm going to take all your stuff? I don't think that's right. I doubt you will either when it happens to you. The point is, it's not that we shouldn't be providing certain things for our citizens. We voted on that stuff. We elected representatives that voted laws in for that stuff, and that's all good and well, but the line does have to be drawn somewhere. We should be looking out for each other, obviously. I mean, I'm a Christian man, and it's part of my religion to look out for those that need help. If I see a guy standing on the corner and he looks hungry and thirsty, I'm going to walk up to him and say, hey man, you look like you could use some water and a cheeseburger. Man, let me get that for you. That's my right. It's my stuff. I can do that. That's amazing. It's charity. And we should be charitable one another. We should be willing to help one another out. But when we start forcing people to give, that's not charity anymore. That's actually taking from somebody else, and that's stepping on their rights to live their life. And that's just not right to me. Basically, what I'm saying at the end, at the end of this is just be careful when you call something a right that is not, because rights have no material guarantee to them whatsoever. It's just guarantees that you can live your life in America free and in the pursuit of your own happiness, whatever that is, free to make your own choices, but not free to take everything from everyone else and to demand that everybody else gives you what you want. You guys have a good day.